Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this Vampire 20th edition podcast of the Giovanni Chronicles: The Last Supper. I'm Procyon. I will be your storyteller for this evening. As we continue on with the adventures of this group of formerly mortals, now quite possibly something else, who are currently in the very loving and caring custody of Hardestat and his allies. Right? Definitely. But let's introduce our players, starting with Slava.
I am the Peppermint Primal, playing Suava, who is currently just hanging out with her friends.
Definitely nothing bad going on.
Nothing at all.
Nico.
Oh, hi. I am Ignium Blood Mage, and I will be playing Nico.
Next will be Sasha.
Hi, I'm Yusupit 1872. I almost forgot my numbers there for a minute. I am playing Sasha Jarvis, and I am also currently hanging out with my friends. Quite literally.
Yes. Alonso.
I am Luke. I'm playing Alonso. I am hanging with my friends and would love to stop with the stabbings.
No, the stabbings continue for as long as I say so. Blade. Blade, we need you in roll 20.
Yeah, sorry. Just getting in there.
But you can do an introduction.
Yes. I go with Blade. My character's name is Lucen. I'm trying to stop burnings while hanging with my friends.
It's fine. So at this point, Nico, who is in considerably worse shape than you saw him last, has been brought back to the cell, and Suava is taken away. Suava, as you're dragged into the claustrophobic chamber, an awful perfume assaults your nose. The oddly salty scent of rusting iron, the foul stench of unwashed bodies and waste, and cutting through it all, the unmistakable stink of fear. You hardly need look in this room to know what it contains. Cages, manicured chains, spiked chairs, iron maidens, and tools that would be at home in a foundry or a butcher's shop. You are dragged to the west wall of the room, and you are chained up on the wall. Sitting on a small stool in the corner of the room opposite you is a familiar sight, the same old gypsy woman you saw at the Red Lamb, and she eyes you with preternaturally bright eyes, not saying a word, as your captor, the at this point familiar, tall, strapping man with dark hair and intense eyes, strolls in, bringing with him a stooped, wizened man, no more than 4'9" in height, with huge, suppurating warts covering most of his skin. And Hardestat does another one of those kind of mock bows as he says, "Oh, it was rude of me. We hadn't started with introductions. I'm called Hardestat, my associate here," and he motions to the other one brought, which would be Iggy, your founder.
Wait, am I saying something?
Yeah, he motions to you. He motions to you as if to say, introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Josef von Baden.
I'm Suava.
Well, nice to formally meet you, Suava. And from the way he's acting, he definitely isn't acting like you saw him before. He seems acting more almost tender as he walks over to you and he asks, "So tell me, this can go much easier for you if you just tell me what or tell me the identities of your fellow conspirators. This may go easier on you.
We are not the conspirators. I don't know how many times we'd have to say this, or even how many times that Nico's probably told you, but we are not the ones that conspire against whoever it is.
And instead of like fully releasing a breath, he goes over to a table, grabs a riding crop similar to the one that Lothar had used, and smacks you across the face with it, again drawing blood. Yosef, you see what I'm dealing with, but continue to deny it. Any response, Yosef?
He has the same approach as the other one. The other one gave much forward answers, though. But,
What would we even gain from conspiring?
Yosef is he's just kind of silent, just kind of like overlooking her a little bit. And it's just like, actually, can he tell that she's a rose?
Let's see. Probably, given his age, yeah, probably.
It's like, she's of the clan of the rose, but... Interesting.
What is that supposed to mean?
It's as you say. I just find you interesting. Most of the time, most clan of the rose is usually, and hold on, I'm gonna let me just, and forgive me, Raphael. Most of the time, clan of the roses usually stick together, but describe the man. Describe your sire. What words would you use to describe him?
She actually looks pretty confused at this point. What?
The man.
Your sire.
Who was he?
Well, she kind of like looks between them still. You're referring to the man that drank from me.
That's a nice way of putting it, but yes.
She kind of like forces in a deep breath. I would rather see that man die, personally, if I may speak out of turn. He was disgusting, and deserves to be put through whatever tortures that hells would have for a man like him.
Hardestat looks Slava over and says, well, certainly looks like he did quite a number on you, didn't he? Strange for a degenerate, but as they say, takes all kinds.
It's not strange for our kind to have complicated relationships with our sire, but considering the state that we found her in, and considering
The
her
bastard
marks,
literally degraded my music and the stories that I would tell. You expect me to sing him a high praise?
Then as Slava interrupts, that gets her another slap with that spiked armor gauntlet. As Hardestat says, and this time his tone takes on a much darker and more. He seems to facilitate between like tenderness and rage, and says, "Don't speak out of turn."
What else do you remember from that night? What exactly happened? Can you describe any of the people that you saw?
They spoke of conspiring against something called Cappadocius.
Same as the last one, then. Interesting. Like, Yosef is just kind of like... Fuck it, I'm gonna give this guy a staff. Yosef is just kind of like... Listen, when I hear wizened old man, I hear something. A certain image comes to mind. Yosef is just kind of, gonna lean on his staff a little bit. And it's just like, same story as the last. I wonder what the others will say.
Tell me, what is their plot? Who are they plotting? Who exactly are they plotting against? You must know. You must know.
I can't say exactly, nor what they plan to do.
But you do remember the words Cappadocius being uttered, do you not? Are you sure that's exactly what you heard?
I am sure. I can't speak of the character of the others that were at that table, as I did not speak with them.
Situation is much different than we thought it was. Perhaps. And at that point, is Yosef just kind of shuts up, and it's like, I'll withhold any other words I have until we talk with them all. I think it'll be interesting to see how the stories lead up. The last one said Cappadocius as well was being conspired against. This one said the same thing. It makes me wonder what the others will say. Did they all collectively hear the same thing?
Fair enough. I suppose we've got...
But one option I will weigh in is that she hates her sire utterly. Although it's not uncommon for this thing to for this to be the case with our kind. Maybe that could be put to some use.
Perhaps. We shall see what we decide doing with these neonates.
It's something to consider. She has so much hatred in her heart for her sire. Why not we put that to good use? Granted, I want to hear from all of them to see how this goes, but let's hear from the rest, unless you're already done with her.
I'd have to agree. Evidently, we're not going to get much out of this one. And then he motions to the guards to have Thwava brought back. And next time round, actually, let's see. There's 3 left, so let's see who is next. That would be Lucen. So Hardestat has the guards take Thwava back to the cell and chain back up on the wall, and then to bring Lucen in, and this time there's now a third person who is joining Hardestat in his interrogation. This one being, let's see, find the thing for them. This one being a slim, dark young man with shaggy brown hair and wide, innocent eyes. And Hardestat does his same introduction and then motions to the newcomer to introduce themselves to our newest victim.
My name is Milov Petroniklov.
Now, what did they call you? And then he looks over to Lucen.
I am known as Sir Lucen the Haze.
Well, Sir Lucen Hayes, let us start. I will allow my compatriots to begin asking questions. We'll start with Milov. We'll start with you, Milov.
He kind of looks Lucen up and down. Well, what all did you hear while you were at the table? Who is it that you're conspiring with?
I conspire with nobody. As far as I'm concerned, those who had her, who we had joined for that banquet are my enemies now. I have already sworn an oath to slay brutish Marchetus, as well as that traitorous Giovanni. I would never conspire with them.
And at that, Hardestat just flies into another rage, and at this time, he's growing increasingly more pissed off. He goes to a nearby table and grabs, I guess they kind of look similar to brass knuckles, only instead of the knuckle part, there are claws. In fact, I'll put a image of this thing in Discord.
Fun.
And he takes that. Its actual name is a Spanish tickler. And I'm gonna be on someone's list for looking this stuff up. But he takes that claw and slashes Lucen right across the face and says, "Ah, you conspirators continue to deny it." So I find it annoying.
You find it annoying, huh? I find your treatment of us to be rather annoying as well. But I speak only truth here. I am a knight. It is not in my nature to tell lies.
What do you two think?
Well, he did give us another name.
And not only that, it's also a situation of, how do I put it? If we picked up any of them lying... Oh, here's the thing, and one thing I want to consider. They haven't lied a single time, all three of them. When you think about it, if they did lie, she, and he points to the Ravnos woman, she would have picked up on it by now. The fact that all three of them have kind of the same story, one, a hatred for their sires, but also have this knowledge of not knowing the greater picture and dire peril that this is causing. It makes me wonder if they were just caught in the crossfires of what happened.
Nothing is stopping us from believing that their memory has been wiped. You know yourselves they could have been told to forget what happened.
That is true. That is true. But one thing is for certain, and Yosef is kind of gonna go over to a little bit closer to Lucen. Again, kind of staying a step behind Hardestat, but kind of just looking at him and wondering. It's just like, you were one of the ones that fought. Am I correct?
And who are you, before I answer?
I am Josef von Buran. And I want to know, were you one of those people that fought? And if so, how did it feel? Was it of your own actions? Or were you like a prisoner in your own body?
I will hesitate and look thoughtful for a moment, as I'm trying to check whether or not I want to answer this man. But I'll eventually answer. I fought. It was not by my own choice, though. It was as if my body was refusing to listen to me, no matter how hard I tried to tell it to stop.
So you were a prisoner in your own body. You were conscious of everything, but you still fought. And I'm sorry, just to put this in here, he's just gonna be like, curiouser and curiouser.
And at that, after he says that, Hardestat will raise his voice a little, look over toward Durga and say, "Crone!" And then she casually tosses a pair of dice onto the floor, and they come up with 12, so 6 on each side. And then Hardestat kind of cools off a little bit and says, well, the gypsy says that he's not lying. Domination, you think?
Yes.
Likely.
It definitely fits the bill.
Well,
And you...
Again, I think I would like to also point out, this one also swears to want to kill 2 of the conspirators. Still, I would like to point out that this one, as well as the other one, though the first one didn't really say much, it kind of links up. 2 of them have a desire to want to kill those other to kill their sires, or this one in particular wants to try and go after Giovanni. Something to consider. We could probably use that to our advantage.
we'll see what we do with these neonates.
But then Yosef will then just he'll raise his hand and he just wants to ask another question actually to Lucin. Do you remember what they said? Or who they were going to conspire against? Do any names come to mind?
I'm going to furrow my brow in thought for a moment. Cap something.
Cappadocius?
That might be it. I was rather... my mind was on other things at the time when Giovanni was giving his speech.
Did the general...
That name does sound familiar.
Did the general air of the conversation sound like they were going to triumph over that particular name?
What does that matter? If they say they're going to conspire against that name, they're going to conspire, whether they win or lose.
True, but it's just something I want to see all available options with this. I want to see what they're all saying here. And everything is kind of linking towards what they heard.
It'd be nice if they actually would tell me what they heard, and at that, Hardstad looks pretty angry, increasingly angry, takes that Spanish tickler and again just stabs Lucin with it and just leaves it there. I'll say right in his stomach, right under his ribs.
Rather than just looking hurt, I'm just going to glare at him. Be careful before I add your name to my list.
Be careful. Normally you think before you act. This is one of those situations where you need to consider your position. We are in the avenue of asking questions, and we are the ones that will ultimately determine what will happen here. I would suggest, if patience is of your vocabulary and virtue, you would use it.
I'm being patient.
But what you are saying does hold merit, at least for me. The fires of rebellion in his eyes. He is definitely of his line, that much is for certain. Interesting. You said the man's name was Marchettis. Do you remember him doing anything specific with you?
He's not who I was referring to. As far as I'm aware, I am not related to that man. I certainly hope not.
Oh, you young kindred have a lot to learn what I mean by bloodline. I'm talking about your maker.
It's not getting us anywhere.
And he doesn't know the terms either. Interesting. And Yosef will just kind of step back, he's kind of sort of finished. I think that's all I'm going to be getting out of this one. Do you have anything? Do you have anything else, Milov? Anything else to consider, maybe?
He just kind of looks over Lucin a few times. And you didn't have any prior engagements with your hosts before now?
None that I'm aware of.
It seems rather odd that a knight of all would be invited and end up in this predicament.
That is true.
Was a rather random invite, but does not turn down a nobleman's request.
A knight's oath. Interesting.
That's all I got. I got nothing else for him.
If you are done with me, may I be returned to my cell now?
Then that earns Lucen a slap like Scarlet did. I said don't speak out of turn, but fine. And then he withdraws the clawed hand and has Lucen brought. After Lucen's brought back, Alonso is brought. Alonso is brought as the next victim for them to talk to. On that note, there's also a new interrogator in the room this time. And this one is an exceedingly tall, rosy-cheeked woman with glittering, dreamy eyes. As Alonso is brought and chained up, Hardestack gives the same kind of mocking bow, although it's getting increasingly harder for him to constrain his rage. But he said, and he motions for the other three to introduce themselves, starting with the new arrival.
I will look at Alonso. I will look over Alonso. Oh, you poor dear. My name is Camilla Baines. Seems like you've been treated horribly up to now.
Well, if I call her quickly, he was brought in with the guards sticking him a few times.
Oh yes, I remember this one.
Is he the one from the shadows?
Parlay?
That also earns Alonso another slap from the spiked armored gauntlet, speaking out of turn, as Hardestack says, you speak when spoken to, conspirator. Now, you'll tell me, who is your sire?
My sire.
Sire, well, who created you?
What language are we speaking? Italian?
Yes.
Okay. Italian's not my first language? Do you mean my father?
Do you know... Do
not act foolishly, boy.
you know what terms we're talking about? Do you know what we mean by sire, child?
No. I am smart enough to realize that you called me another one of your terms, and I don't know what that means either, though.
Hardestack, you said this was the one that had the shadows, correct?
Yes.
But
This was the one that, to his own detriment, tried to intimidate his way out of the situation. And on that note, he kind of gives a little smirk, looking toward Alonso.
I did panic, my lords and ladies, but, I mean, should one be killed for panicking?
You should be
What?
killed for
Depends-
existing
It depends
neonate.
on the day of the week.
What do you remember? How did you end up in that place? What do you remember leading up towards our incursion?
I received a fairly auspicious invitation from a reclusive Italian lord. I traveled to his estate. It was bizarre. There was people of mixed classes, dining at the same table. They took us to separate rooms. I got covered in shadows. I tried to fight them when they put the collars on the necks, and then they jabbed us, said that they were going to drink us. The Giovanni fellow bloviated for about 10 minutes about how this, that, and the other thing, food metaphor, food metaphor, food metaphor. And then they killed us. And then I thought I was dying, and then I woke up a couple of minutes later realizing I must have survived, and then you burst into the room and I panicked.
A more clearer account.
I think some of the other ones started acting very odd during the thing. Like they were doing exactly what they were told, which didn't make any sense because they were killing us.
Well, maybe if you would do what you're told, they wouldn't be killing.
You remember what exactly was said in that speech?
Oh, I have some of the speech. I will be honest, I was very, very preoccupied by the bleeding stone in my pocket.
The bleeding
What?
stone in your pocket?
The Valdemar person said that it was from Abyss. Do you know what Abyss is?
The shadows.
Umbra.
The Umbra. It's a... How did you come into possession of this? Was it given to you by Valdemar?
I worked for many years for a man I can't remember much about in Sicily. And I ferried objects across the Mediterranean back and forth for him. And on my last voyage back, there was a mutiny in my crew, a terrible fight. We ran aground, and I woke up a year later on my bed with the stone in my hand.
You've had mishaps before this day. And yet somehow an invitation just happened to come to you sometime after?
Can you tell? I'll tell you the truth if you can tell me what the stone is.
No, you start speaking the truth now.
I've only said the truth.
Yosef will then look at the gypsy lady. Is he?
She'll toss another pair of dice that come up again, 12. As the gypsy, the crone says, you're telling the truth so far, but tell us now, who were they conspiring against? Tell us details of the conspiracy, and then he'll brandish the long spiked brass knuckles. A Spanish tickler actually is what his name is, but and then he won't stab Alonzo with it, but he'll run it slowly across his cheek. You better tell me something. You better tell me some details, or well, you'll find out.
What else do you remember, young man?
Giovanni was congratulating all the rest of them. It was some kind of weird feast at the end or beginning of some big plan that they had. They talked about you, I'll point with my face towards Hardstadt, and others, and your ilk or friend, and about how you had been stuck in some kind of mire, and they were going to be the future, and they were going to be new, and they were going to surpass other people, and they all were using us as specified vintages of blood, because it would seem that I am now also someone who drinks blood, which... yeah.
The same pattern as the rest.
And then Hardstack gives you like a cursory, somewhat lighter slash across the face. I said details. Tell me about the conspiracy.
Do you remember who it was directed against?
Who all is part of this conspiracy? Names. We need names.
There was, my memory is very foggy. There was a
Well,
lot
you
of
better
blood
get it
lost.
unfoggy and answer the questions.
Well, there
Alright,
was
young man, take your time.
Valdemar. He was the one who was interested in me. There was Giovanni. There was that one that killed that poor boy. He just walked up and punched his head around. He was the one with Lucen. There was 13 of them, and they said they represented 13 somethings, and they said that they brought, the only name I can remember is your name, Hartstadt. They said something about you, taking you down or destroying you or something like that. He was talking in languages so that we couldn't understand what they were meaning because they were about to kill all of us. And we thought we were there for some kind of feast.
And then, on that note, he takes the Spanish tickler and drives it into Alonso's stomach in the same way he did to Lucen. I said the Cappadocians were there too. Who in the Cappadocians are they? Who's their target? Better give me a name.
I don't know.
I will reach out and slap him across the face. Speak, boy!
The name Cappadocius did come up. The Giovanni man said it. I think they did use that word sire or child or something. It was all so confusing. Just a suggestion, stabbing makes it harder to answer.
Perhaps you should remove the implement from his stomach. It might allow him to feel more comfortable answering a question.
Perhaps the pain will have jogged his memory, and he removes the Spanish tickler from Alonso's stomach.
Is that better, boy?
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's good. Thank you.
I'll slap him across the face.
Oh! Oh, damn it, I should have seen that coming. You are all just as bad to us as they were. They killed us, and you're just killing us. I don't understand why you won't believe us.
You did mention a few names, and that is something to go off of.
And we also know that they're gunning to take you down there, Hardstadt.
Not just Hardestadt, it sounds like they're going for someone else, too.
We also have a number, 13.
Well, going after me is not exactly new, but we need to know who in the Cappadocians they're conspiring against. That's what I wish to know, boy. Now tell me who it is. I know you're you were there. You must have been part of the conspiracy. Tell me tell me who in the Cappadocians you're conspiring against.
Are the Cappadocians a family?
Something like that.
Cappadocians, that sounds Italian. Are they an Italian family? Did I meet them in my travels? Is that what this is?
You said Cappadocius, not Cappadocians.
I think so. That sounds more like the name that I heard.
He said the Cappadocius, not the Cappadocians. There is a point to this.
I may have heard the name Cappadocians once in my travels through Italy. I transported many things through Italy. Discreetly.
Well, discretion is all important.
That it is, but still, there's a pattern here.
More importantly, I'm sure he's aware that if he is lying, that there is consequences beyond just this session that we're having now.
True.
It is only... He kind of like haphazardly looks around. It's only a few hours before dawn.
What happened to Dawn?
Oh,
Then Hardestat picks up a nearby riding crop and slaps you across the face with it. Alonzo, you'll find out, neonate.
Things go accordingly, you will find out. But depending on how you've answered will determine many things.
Then Hardestat has a somewhat annoyed look in his face. Do you two have any other questions that become apparent to me? He's not going to answer mine.
I think we've reached what we could with him, unless the others want to keep going.
Milov shakes his head.
I'll just walk up. Young man, you're not holding out anything on us, are you?
I don't believe so. It's all been really confusing.
Very well. I believe he is done.
I think, Yosef?
No, I think that's everything. Still, someone who doesn't know what we are or what we do. 13 names. Cappadocius and the conspiracy, or the conspiracy against him. It's really supporting what I have in mind in my head. But I would like to speak with the others that we have. I want to know what their accounts were.
Fair enough, then. And Hardestat motions to the servants who drag Alonzo, beaten and bleeding, no doubt, back into the cell. And next, they bring Sasha, and it's the same people in the cell, plus one additional new person, who is, I think this was mentioned, who is one sec. The new addition to the room. She is a handsome middle-aged woman with long dark hair and bright green eyes. And Hardestat has Sasha chained up to the wall and sitting there. And he does his same introduction and then motions to the others. He says, "I'm called Hardestat. Hopefully, you'll be able to answer my questions." As you can tell, he's growing increasingly angry, but he motions to the others to introduce, starting with the new arrival.
You may call me Mr. Svenchen.
I am Camilla Baines. Will speak when spoken to and do exactly as we demand.
And then he'll motion over toward Yosef.
I'm Yosef von Buran. It would do well for you to answer our questions.
One last. Then he'll motion over toward Milov.
I am Milov Petronilkov.
Then as he looks at Sasha, he's still holding the bloody riding crop, which at this point has hit, I think, all of you at least once. Well, some of you a couple times. But he's holding it. Plus, he's still wearing the Spanish tickler on his other arm, and he'll say, "First, you'll tell me, conspirator, what do you know of the conspiracy?"
I have told your gods. I have told you. I am no conspirator. I have conspired against no one. I got invited to dinner.
That denial of not admitting you're a conspirator. Look at you, a riding crop slap to the face as well. As that would have hits you hard enough to draw blood. Hits you right in the cheek hard enough to draw blood, and it'll say, and Hardestat will say, I've told you, peons, not to continue to deny your, not to continue to deny your involvement in this conspiracy. I told you, tell me the details of the conspiracy. I want names, information, what they're planning.
You asked me a question and I answered it.
Do well to mind your words. But what do you remember of the events of that night?
I don't. I remember getting the letter and going to the inn with my Norwegian friend. I remember resting and that monk saying horrible things. And then I remember getting to the maze and I could swear the statues they moved. And
What
then I
about this? Sorry, go on.
and then I I don't know. I remember doing things,
What
but
things?
nearly drowning and walking out a window. But I don't remember consciously wanting to do that.
Did it feel like you were conscious of everything, but no matter what you did, you couldn't stop?
Yes.
Who were you with?
Hmm.
Oh, his name
What
was
was what?
Casimir, and
Hmm.
he's just great. He was really nice, and he's just great.
May I ask, Hardstead, can I examine him?
And he'll
What?
Hardestad, who's at this point been rather close to Sasha, obviously because he slapped him with a riding crop, will take the tickler he's wearing, the Spanish tickler, and run it like right across her left cheek, the opposite cheek that he just hit him with the riding crop, and says, "You'll become more acquainted with this if you don't give me names." And then he walks far enough away to get out of Mr. Spansion's way, and then motions to her.
I come over and dab my fingers through the cuts on the face and bring the blood up to my nose and smell it. Hmm.
Sasha will kind of flinch at that.
Mm. Young, very young. Hmm. Rub the blood off on Sasha's clothes. I think the more important thing that we're not discussing is intent. What was your intent that night? Why did you go to Giovanni's estate?
Because my father told me to. If I had not gotten standing, it would not have been ended well for me.
Hmm.
When someone of Lord Giovanni's status and position in the merchant community tells you come to dinner, you go to dinner.
Hmm. Hmm. And you always do what authority figures tell you to do.
Who is my father? Should I not have listened to my father?
Good question. Good question. Hmm. Hmm. I
Sorry, go on.
no I this Casimir. What did he say to you?
Oh, we t- he'll Sasha will look like you know happy reminiscing. You know, it's like oh we talked about the occult and whatnot.
Oh, the cult.
Yes.
The banshees. The what did he? What kind of the occult?
Uh, Sasha will start going off on different areas of the occult and whatnot.
Oh, you seem very knowledgeable of such subjects.
So I'm
Definitely not someone who would be fighting like we saw.
Hmm. There is that unfortunateness.
I must ask, will you always follow the instructions of, say, your father or someone, say, a sire.
Well, I guess you could call my father my sire. Scratch his head a bit, but it is only respectful to listen to your parents and
No matter what they would ask of you, even if that were to betray everything you hold dear.
my father wouldn't ask me that.
But if he did,
You crossed the line? Or would you burn?
He would just look confused, like this is a pointless hypothetical. What
Where do
Camilla
I-
will slap Sasha across the face. Answer!
Answer the question.
What does this hypothetical have anything to do with me being here? I just want to go.
You were with the conspirators.
Do you remember? Maybe we should go off to a different line of questioning then. When you were there, do you remember anything about who they were planning to go after?
I don't remember much. I was concerned of my friend in trying to convince her to leave. But no, it started something with a C, a J, and I.
Interesting. Why would you feel like you had to leave?
We were just getting bad vibes after he had the night just ransacked that sheep. Then he had us drink its blood. Well, that's not new to me. I've done that before in different practices and rituals, but it just seemed weird, you know?
You say you've drank blood before.
Well, yes, I'm a pagan scholar.
Oh my. Rome wouldn't like to hear that.
No, they
Rome
would
can go fuck
not.
themselves.
Oh shit! Okay, was not expecting that shit. Alright. Okay.
Just the old man be like, oh shit!
in a more appropriate to the setting language.
Shit, okay. Was not expecting that. Alright.
I feel like Sasha just earned another slap for disrespectful speech.
Exactly.
Speak to your betters with more respect.
I think a double slap. So Camilla will slap first, then Hardestat will walk over and just add his
Jesus Christ,
armor glove to
Camilla
the.
is slapping barehanded, so it's not real. It's more of just a sting than leaving any actual injury.
Oh no, Hardestat still got that armor.
Oh yeah, I'm
He
differentiating.
just bam, hits it right
Got
across
that
the face, stabbing him with that armor glove.
Sasha would just like have this eye twitch and is like, you speak to me in hypotheticals of respect, but in how I should question my betters, and when I do, you smack me.
You poor boy. I'll caress Sasha's cheek. You poor boy. You are so confused. Calm yourself. It will all work out better that way. Now, just please answer our questions. That is all you need to do.
Where did the conspirators go?
I don't know where they went.
How long have you been?
I heard the command to fight, and then they were gone.
How long have you been aligned with the conspirators?
Wait, did you actually? I don't know if you guys remember who. Did you guys make that roll? There was a perception awareness roll to see if you saw where they went.
Did.
I think
I don't think we tried, actually.
Someone did. I think it was Alonzo. Oh, it was Alonzo that did.
Oh, what did I hear?
No, the before the fight happened last session, there was a perception awareness roll, and I don't think Sasha passed it.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure you weren't lying. I still have not had an answer to my question. I said names. Who among the Cappadocians were they conspiring against?
I told you I don't remember. One started with a C, I think, and the other was like Jep. I don't know. Jep is something.
Maybe this will jog your memory. And he, as he says that, he gives Sasha a little tickle with the Spanish tickler he's got on his other hand.
You said Japet. Is it Japeth?
That name does sound familiar, yes.
And the one with the C. Did it sound like Cappadocius?
That's a possibility. It's kind of hard to think now with bleeding out on the floor.
And then Hardestat will retract the tickler and say, meta-wise, you actually say his name, Japheth.
Oh,
like,
Japheth. Okay.
Yeah, Japheth. And he'll say, Japheth Cappadocius. They're conspiring against Japheth Cappadocius.
It definitely fits everything that they've been saying. Every one of them just said Cappadocius, but this one came out with a specific name.
Just to make sure, and then he'll
not to be lying to us.
And
he'll look over to the crone. Crone, gypsy
Look
woman,
over
are
to
they
that.
lying or not?
Look over to that Ravnos woman.
Yes, and the Ravnos woman again tosses a die on the floor, which again come up as 12. So here, how does that look to the others? Doesn't seem like he's lying. At least if the gypsy woman can be trusted.
What would be the advantage of me lying to you?
They've all spoken the truth. They haven't been lying, but they haven't been as forthcoming with some of the information. It really adds credence to the fact that they might have been caught in the crossfire.
They
Truth
haven't
is
been
relative.
lying as far as they know. Are we so sure that they don't believe that they are telling the truth? Actually, so.
Doesn't matter so much what they believe, only what they perceived, and I believe everyone here knows that what we perceive can be changed, altered, deleted, added to.
Precise.
True. But if they had the time to do that, they would have done that aside from the command to fight.
There's some. But at least we have a name. Do any of you have any remaining questions for this one?
No.
No.
Your hair. May I brush it?
Thank you.
Oh well.
As if you have any say in this.
Walk up and just run my fingers through it anyway.
I was expecting a slap actually, but
Wipe
okay.
wipe a little of the blood off of his cheek and run it through his hair like product.
Like gel. Okay.
Kind of shiver at this.
And after Camilla's done, then comes the slap.
What is making you so afraid, young man?
Just I want to go home. I want to go back to my family. I would like to leave now, please.
Very well. Send him away. He is
Yeah.
no more use to us.
We shall bring in the others.
Are there any others left?
Well, we shall bring them all in. And he motions to the servants to have all of you brought in and chained up to the wall in this room. Let's see. And on that note, and once you're all sitting in the room and chained up on the wall, since you've all continued to profess your innocence, he will look gruffly over at the gypsy, which the founders would know as Durga. And he asked her, "Old one, what do you make of this rabble, which has provided such poor entertainment for this night?" And for the first time since you've seen her, the gypsy woman actually stands up and moves toward each of you. And as she does, she will hang on. So she walks toward the group of and when I say you in this context, I mean like the actual characters, not the founders. I mean, I'm sure I didn't have to say that, but just making it sure. So she walks toward each one of the player characters, and she says, "She say," and then as she reaches, I'll say the first one will be Nico. The first one she reaches will be Nico, and she asks, "If this little babe knows aught of the details of a conspiracy against the Cappadocian, tell old Durga Sin true now. Tell her true, my dove." And then she waits for response for Nico.
Oh. So wait, is she like literally asking like to tell
Yes.
the truth, basically, and just
She's asking if you know. What she said was, if the little babe knows aught of the details of a conspiracy against the Cappadocian, tell old Durga Sin true now. Tell her true, my love. So, my dove. So she basically is asking you to tell her if you know any details about the conspiracy and to be truthful.
Yeah, Nico will just describe the events of that night again as much as he's able to. Gonna describe that as the events of that night again, just describing kind of like what happened. He'll mention the 13 there, try to recollect some of the names, as well as Giovanni's speech about going after Japheth and Cappadocius. But that's all he'll remember, but he'll also like accompany that with that he was invited there as well.
After you finish talking, Durga suddenly lashes out with one twisted fingernail, deeply scratching your cheek, leaving a fairly large scratch mark, and then she scoops a few drops of blood onto her nail, sniffs, and then dabs a drop or two of fluid onto her tongue, and then like tastes does that kind of motion where you tasting something. And then she moves on to the next and says the same thing she said to Nico to Slava now.
I know nothing more than what you heard in the room when I was here.
Then she does the same thing. You can feel a deep gash of, you can feel pain, some pain, not as much as you would think, as she again deeply cuts into your cheek, takes a couple drops of your blood, tastes it, and then moves on to we'll say Lucen, and ask him the same question.
Just say, "Oh, cut my cheek already. Apparently that's what you're going to do."
And then she does the same thing, and then moves next to Alonso, and asks him.
I'll tell the whole story.
The same thing happens to you. She cuts into your cheek deeply and tastes your blood, and then moves over to Sasha and does the same thing to him. Is there anything Sasha has to add to what he's already said?
No.
Alright, and then after he tastes your blood, she turns over to Hardestat and she says, "Well, my young giant, it seems none of your little chicks is a rooster. They are blank slate. Tabulae rase, knowing nothing of our world. Why, they don't even have the sense to recognize that they have been hatched anew, let alone what to do with their new wings." And then on that, Hardestat disgustedly tosses that bloody riding crop, which has been hitting all of you guys multiple times today to the ground, and then he casually reaches out and draws a nearby servant to him. As he does this, you guys can see his front, his two front, I forget the name. That's not molars. It's the two front, two of his front teeth suddenly grow longer and turn into fangs as he bites into the neck of a nearby servant. After a few moments, the servant doesn't look like he's in pain though. He looks like he's experiencing it. Looks like he's feeling actually really good right now. But the servant collapses at Hardestat's feet after a couple of minutes, and then Hardestat just gives a weary kind of sigh. He says, "I'm not done with it. Off to the roof with them, I say. Sunrise is only a few short hours away, and we have much yet to accomplish this evening." And then
Is this where the debate happens?
yes. Give me 1 second. But Mr. Spansion at this point interjects. She says, "But my lord Hardestat, I do not believe in wasting resources, even ones as trifling as these. I would be happy to blood bond each of these to myself so that they may do us no harm. They could then serve us, helping to track down their errant sires who have knowingly broken the traditions of Cain." And Hardestat laughs loudly at this. And several of the other founders join. And Hardestat says, "Do you think this night's exertion has knocked the brains from my body, Mr. Spansion? No, you shall not blood bond these neonates to yourself, Tremere. If their masters come calling for them, they could betray us." And then on that one, Joseph chimes in and says, "They are powerful, though, Hardestat. They would make most excellent slaves." And Joseph says that, picking absently at a particularly pustulant one of his warts. But then another one who hasn't introduced himself chimes in and says, "They're ignorant and can unmask us all." And then he takes a second and points to Sasha in particular. "Although I could perhaps be persuaded to take this one for a slave." Any response from Sasha on that one?
Oh, you would not want me as a slave. I am not slave material.
And then Camilla chimes in, "Perhaps I could take a few and blood bond them to me. They would be my children, my own dear hearts. Then I could eat of their flesh, drink of their marrow, and you shall both be satisfied." And then after a slight pause, the debate begins anew. So give me 1 second. I will, let's see. No, alright. And I will, actually, you guys will see a note in your 20 for, let's see. Give me 1 second to actually move them. Let's see. Okay, yep. Just make sure I sent them to the right person. Okay. So, Sasha, you should see yours. So, now, Lucen, you should see yours. Slava, you should see yours.
Yep.
And,
I should be seeing my thing where?
it's gonna be over where your character sheet is.
Oh,
Same
I'm looking
tab,
on the wrong.
same tab.
Never mind. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Yes, and that will tell you what your character's initial goals are in this argument, and what their I'm gonna be playing Hardestat and Raphael, but you guys are each playing one of the other founders, and you guys should each have a card now that tells you your founder's goals and debating style. But I will and once everyone sees theirs, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Wait, where would?
It'd be in the same tab.
Got it.
Third tab, it should be a blue note.
Got it.
Yep.
Excuse me.
And
I was looking
I'll be playing.
in Discord. That's why I was having trouble finding it.
No, this one I made in advance in Roll20.
Yeah.
But I will allow the argument to begin at this point. I will actually allow you guys to start it instead of me.
no matter what, we should all agree on certain things before we decide anything. Such as, it seems a logical thing that, at the very least, they should be bloodbound to one or more of us.
Oh, absolutely. I must blood bond
You two
as
are
many of them as I
funny.
can. It would
Milov shakes his head.
be
No.
wonderful to have.
You should just take them to the roof. They'll
If
be
only for them to run
useless.
off, you do realize there's no thrill in just killing them off that way.
Killing them
Of
off?
course not.
Would you release them into the woods and hunt them?
Yes,
Actually,
I
sounds
very
like a good
much
idea.
would.
What a
That actually sounds
foolish
quite fun.
waste of talent. All I see before me is potential. Potentially
Potential
the
for
greatest that
who?
we've ever seen. For all these 5 poor souls.
But they
Yes.
could,
Under you?
they
Uh,
could make good spies.
They
No
would
one
be very
has
great potential for fun. You could just
You
torment
speak-
them
I-
and rip them to pieces. It
You
would be
speak them of
beautiful.
being spies, and we have a scholar, a merchant, a knight who we don't even know whose alliance is to, and I don't know about these other two, but they hardly seem like spies.
Scholars make the best spies.
They make the best fodder.
So
And-
Someone seems to be a bard of some kind.
Into enemy encampments. They're full of knowledge.
Would you like to know what
I-
potential I see? Hardestat says, and he says, I see the potential for betrayal if we let them live. We should burn them. We should have them brought to the roof.
that
No.
Let them go through the woods.
Kind children
Let
would
us all
never
hunt.
betray us if we blood on them.
I disagree.
Children betray their mothers all the time. I say we just let them out in the
Mine
woods
would
and hunt
never.
them down.
I disagree, but I agree with the idea of what Lady Fachion says here. We blood bond them. It would make them of use, and it would, in a way, not jeopardize the possibility of them running off.
Until they decide they've had enough of just a taste of the blood and go for more. I don't know about you, but we should end it now and just, like I said, if you want them to taste blood, you taste theirs first when you drink them dry.
I'm glad you brought
That
up
is
the idea of blood, actually, because we have all of their blood. We wouldn't have it if we finished them and destroyed them and brought them to final death, but we have access to their blood. Blood that used to run through the veins of all their sires. Seems
And we
like
don't
some-
need them bloodbound to use it.
The
True.
one remaining person who didn't participate in the interrogation speaks up. This is a man who is he's a gorgeous, medium-boned man with a mellifluous voice. Yes, Raphael. Raphael, you would all know him. And he says, "Well, as entertaining as the ideas you're proposing are, I, for one, say that we should just kill them and be done with it. I believe, frankly, I think that these neonates are quite powerful, even if they don't know it, and are far too dangerous to be allowed to roam free."
Who said anything about letting them roam free?
Who said anything about letting them roam beyond the night?
I do. Others here as well.
You don't know how easy it is to get someone to be good and loyal to you. Once you be kind to them, be nice to them, don't shank them every 5 minutes.
I will admit,
Yes.
they do have a point.
It is easier to turn ones to your side when what is it? What is it the dragons say? Hospitality is granted.
Yes.
Then,
I
Hardestat
wish
would look
blood
right
bond.
at
It will be my
Hardestat would look
favorite.
right at Adana, and he'll say, Are you questioning me?"
And not so many words.
Very much so.
Keep in mind you're in my house.
What are we questioning again?
You would ask that question. Sorry, I had to take a snipe at the I had to take a snipe at the fucking at the fucking
You're questioning with a
Octavian. I'm
question.
sorry. I'm sorry. I had to do it.
I am just saying, it is easier to get a pup to be loyal and trust you when you are kind to them, when you feed them and pet them and tell them, "Oh, what a good boy you've been."
Are you
But these are
suggesting-
not pups, and you know that.
They very much are. They are new to these nights. They are just mere fledglings, mere pups to be,
The pup does not conspire against a wolf.
But it
The
is something.
pup will not go and try killing the wolf if they so much get the smell of blood. I say we go, let them out, so that we may hunt them. We may feel what it is to hunt, so that we may then go and hunt the conspirators.
Yeah, what if they escape you, Gangrel? How does that chimes in?
And what if they escape their bondings, Ventru?
Even so, we
With
need
all
to-
of us here, we could just drag them to the roof, tie them down, and be done with it.
That is
Even
a
so-
waste of good potential.
It is a waste of such entertainment we could be having with them.
Not so
Why
much
just let them
entertainment.
why let them be burned up by the sun?
We should just bond them, send them back to the conspirators, and have them feed us more information that we didn't get out of them tonight.
Yes, exactly. Do that.
The bonding would at least secure some level of. Sorry, I cannot speak my words today. The bonding will at least try and secure some level of assurance that immediate betrayal might not be on the docket, but it will also save us some resources. How many resources did we commit in that little attack at the manor?
Too many.
What have we wasted?
I could not agree any more about the importance of the solidity and vigorousness of said blood bond, and it only makes sense to me that a clan who has had some dealings in the blood bond should be the one to blood bond.
Although,
And Hardest says,
So that they may have more power and take control over all? You'd be no better than the Giovanni.
Hmm.
the blood oath takes days, and how do we know? And knowing your clan, the way your clan works, Tremere, that one, and then he points toward Sasha. That one is likely already bound and likely to betray us anyway. So I say we burn them.
Yes,
Oh,
destroy them, but not burn. Destroy them.
there's
We
a
must find them more
possibility that if we
entertaining
send them
way.
back blood bond, the conspirators would do our work for us and destroy them themselves.
Three. If we blood bond them, it will add, as I've said before, a level of security that, in the event that they fail, well, as far as I know, they would have done our work for us. But we also
No.
could use them as a distraction.
My babies
You're-
would never fail us, though.
You're a blind fool, Yosef, as are you, Camilla.
I just believe in saving our resources where we can save them. Having them put to the task will be a better outcome than just going onto full force and having the conspirators expect it. When you think about it that way, it'll
And
save
they
us
already
time.
know that we're on their trail. Did you not forget that they willingly turned these the kind against us in the hopes of escaping?
Not to mention, two of them laid down their arms quite quickly.
And two of them did not.
But what greater
One of-
motivator?
We have-
Oh yeah, that's true. What greater motivator is there than getting forgiveness for the sins of the father? Wouldn't these five be motivated to help us search out for their
And we already
creators?
have a few that have vowed to want to kill the conspirators as well. Having them, well, using them and having them harness that anger that they had over their deaths would prove useful.
Oh yes, how do you know
So we
that
keep
will
the
last?
two and kill the rest then.
How do you know that anger they may feel now away from their sires will not change when they meet them again, Nosferatu?
It'll give them
That's what the blood
perspective.
bond is for.
It'll give them perspective as to who the winning team of this is.
Oh, by the way, I should mention for the player characters, this argument's happening like right in front of you. So if you want, your player characters can try and interject comments. They may or may not be heated, but like they're like standing maybe like 5-10 feet away from you discussing this.
Me and the Saw's probably looked over at Sasha, just like, what the fuck is going
I think at this point, Loose End's just kind of like, get on with it. Make up your damn minds already.
As tempers are continuing to flare, I think. What do you guys think? I think it's a good point to move on to the next part. You think? As entertaining as this argument's been. As the founders continue to trade barbs, one says, "You're a blind fool." Camilla says back, "You're the fool." And Mr. Spansion says, "I say you're the fool." And Durga, who's been sitting quietly this entire time, rises up and she says, "Fools all." And then Mr. Spansion says, "Do not interrupt us, ancient mother." And then Hardestad says, "I warned you not to overreach, Gypsy. You're here at our forbearance." And then Durga continues, "You waste even the middling opportunities and precious resources God has set before you. Do you not see that cowering before you are the perfect spies?" Hardestad says, "But they're unknown, undoubtedly weak. They could turn on us at any time, old one." And then she says, "And risk facing the wrath of this newly minted assemblage of the legions of all kindred. They would have to be madder than the conspirators who are barely strong enough to stand against you when in hiding." And then Hardestad pauses and continues in a more reflective vein. "But why would the conspirators even trust these pathetic creatures? Were I the traitor Claudius Giovanni, I would strike them down ere they cross my threshold." "What if he does? Then they die, and you lose nothing you would not lose in killing them yourself." And he says, "You're mad as a Malkavian." "Mayhap. I am madder yet. But I have foreseen that these unworthy fledglings will have an important role to play in our tangled scheme. Behold, an egg newly laid at dawn." And then Durga Sin, from where you guys have no idea, but she brings forth a large hen's egg with a flourish. And then she walks once more down the line of prisoners, and as she walks past each one of the player characters, she passes the egg over each character's head, and she bids you kiss it, starting with Alonso.
Narrow my eyes and kiss it.
And then she moves over to Lucen next.
This is just a regular egg as far as we can see.
Yeah, a large hen's egg.
May I attempt to headbutt the egg and try to break it?
Hulk smash.
Or hit it with my teeth, maybe, or something. It's just an egg. It can't be that hard to break.
Yes, you may.
I will attempt to do that then.
And as you attempt to do that, you suddenly find the egg much harder than you thought it would. It hits your forehead almost like iron. And she again bids you kiss it.
That is one magical egg. Alright, whatever.
And then she moves next to
Yes.
And then she moves next to Sasha and motions that he kiss the egg.
He's just done with all this and just like, fine, okay. Whatever.
Nico's next.
Nico does it.
And Slava.
She kisses the egg.
And then she takes the egg and produces with another flourish a small bowl. And then she cracks the egg open and pours out the contents. And even Hardestat looks faintly surprised, and you all, I don't know how each of the player characters will react, but all the founders seem moderately surprised that instead of egg, blood comes pouring out of this egg and filling up the bowl. And as you can see, blood spilling out from that egg and right into that bowl, and she shows it to all of you.
Sasha will watch intently, because this is interesting now.
So will Nico. Nico will just watch intently.
Ah.
Food.
Yes. Yes. All of you actually, upon smelling that, can feel not so much. You wouldn't call it hunger. It's more like a craving. It's an emptiness. It's hunger is the closest word you can use to describe it, but it's something else. And then Durga says, I am not unskilled in the arts of my people, and I can tell you this is a sign that these chicks are meant to play a part in this long and bloody drama. Just what that part is has yet to be seen, but they must be allowed to play it. And then Hardestat and the other founders look long and hard at that curdled blood and eggshells in Durgasin's bowl. Finally, Hardestat speaks. Your gypsy divinations have not been wrong yet, but I do not fully trust you. Still, the hour grows early, and I weary of this. You had best be right about so crucial a matter, Ancient One. So be it. We shall allow the craven neonates their lives, so that they may serve as dogs, tracking down those who would break the tradition of Cain. Hardestat turns to each of you, and fixing each of you with his chilling gaze, and he speaks. This evening, the 5th day of April, 1444, I declare Giovanni and his fellow conspirators anathema. Nevermore will the other children of Cain give them succor. They shall be hunted to the ends of the earth where they are found, and shall be slain in fire for their sacrilege. And then he smashes his armored fist into his mailed hand. And he points to all of you, and you shall be our dogs. You shall hunt down your fathers and mothers, destroying those who unlawfully gave birth to you. And if you do not, you shall join your beggars of anathema, and no devil or god, known to kindred or kind, shall save you from my wrath. And then he turns his heel and stalks from the room. And the rest of the founders, save Durga, follow him. And once they're gone, Durga smiles and says, May you justify my faith in you. Return and tell me of your efforts. Then she leaves as well, and the room is empty.
Don't we still change the wall?
Yes, you're still chained to the wall, and the room is empty, so you still have a couple moments if you, the characters, want to discuss what just happened.
What's happening?
Fuck.
We're going to live.
For
That's-
how long?
Long enough.
We have to hunt the ones that killed us?
We need to leave, Shava.
But where will we go?
I think leaving is a little out of the question at this point. We're still chained, and some of us are looking a little worse for wear right now.
Yes, chained. I would like to attempt to.
And Nico wants to say,
I
don't.
want to attempt to
Nico
pull
wants
the
to say,
chain down the
don't
wall
try
again.
it. Nico wants to say, don't try it if you really value your life right now.
Hey, they didn't come because I did this. They came because we were loud. I'm going to attempt it one more time.
I'll let you do it if you want to. You have to roll the strength athletics.
I'm doing it. Yeah, that's what I rolled last time. Things. Here we go. This is where I can.
That's pretty good,
I
actually.
doubled the 10 because of the specialty.
Okay, so that's 5 successes. So
4, I think.
Lucen, or 4. Yeah, 4. Okay, yeah. So, Lucen, you do start pulling the chains, and you do start making progress until a familiar face walks in, Redursio. He enters the room with 2 servants, and he says, "Well done, lads and lasses." And then he starts to unchain you. Lucen, you've already done kind of half the work, so it's easier for him to unchain you.
Worth a shot.
And he unchains you. He says, "I'm rather glad he spared you. I feared when I delivered you to that hellish place that I would never see you again. Now let's get you cleaned up." And the servants bring buckets of warm water and fresh clothing into the cell. You guys are each covered in dirt and blood and rather unfit company.
Maybe be brought somewhere to bathe.
Let's see. And he kind of he pauses for a second and he says, "Okay, follow me." And he has the servants bring you to get a, I would say rather small room outside of small room outside of a small room out of sight of most. And he says, "Well, we'll have to do this one by one. We can have one person bathe at once." And then he hands each of you fresh clothes. Those of you from the lower social, you guys would each recognize the clothes he brought as clothes fit for tradespeople. So nobles in the party are going to have to dress down for now, and the peasants will be dressing up.
As long as it's functional, that's all I care about.
And I'll dress just the same.
Nico will look to him and just what is going on?
I am unsure. We seem to be dead. They seem to be very angry at the people who killed us and turned us into these things.
I picked up on the fact that we weren't breathing, but that's also a plus.
Yes, and then
very angry at us for some reason.
And actually, after you guys are all clothed, Redursio leads you through through the catacombs of the castle into a large room with a long table. And I will switch the room right here to change. And this is a very large room with a big long table in the center. Sitting on that table are great casks. And he says,
this picture is from.
Yeah.
I know what specific picture this is from. Sorry, go on. I apologize.
Okay. And he says, "You must be hungry. You haven't fed. You can sate your hunger from these. Drink from these casks."
What is in this?
And then he says, "It is blood. That is what you eat now. I understand you have questions, and I will answer. But I would insist you at least drink a little bit, because I know you must be hungry."
Yes.
I am hungry, but not particularly thirsty.
You will
go
understand.
Alonzo's gonna go right over. Yeah, right over.
Yeah,
right over.
Right over.
Oh, you are very, very hungry right now. You're sitting at 3 blood points? 2?
I believe 2.
I'm gonna have the
Yeah.
shakes going as I get this.
So you got out of the 20 you're allowed. No, not 20. I think it's 20.
Yes, our max is 20.
Yeah. Yes,
Whoa.
out of the 20 that you're allowed. So you're starving. You're very hungry.
Yeah, Nico just goes for it. It's fine.
Yeah, just start drinking.
Yes, as each of you drink the blood.
We weren't told what was in the casks, were we?
No.
I'm
Well,
going to just
actually,
assume it's some sort of beer or something, some sort of a liquid bread kind of mixture thing to feed to.
Yes, and as you do that, you find it's warm. The liquid is warm, wet. You definitely recognize the taste as blood, but even though it should be disgusting, to you it's delicious and sating and you find that the hunger, the emptiness, is receding. You don't feel the same ravenous hunger that has been clawing at you this entire time. It's sated as the warm, wet blood enters your mouth, goes down your throat, and down into your new stomach, I suppose. I will say, there is enough blood here to get you all up to the 20 you're allowed in blood points, so everybody mark your sheets as having your full generation max, which is 20.
Put an X through 20 of them.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like it should be 2 rows.
Get a lot of blood.
10.
Delicious blood.
2, 3, 4, 5.
And how much can we spend per round?
4.
Based on your generation 4.
Wow, holy crap. I've never played anything this powerful before.
Funny thing, most of my abilities don't really require blood usage.
Does this blood have any particular residence or anything?
Not this blood, no. There's no particular residence. You wouldn't be able to tell anyway because it's your first time drinking, so...
I actually have a question because of my one flaw.
Yes.
Would this trigger that?
I will overlook this this one time only because this is the first time. This is your first time. You haven't really gotten.
Gotcha.
I want to say used to it, so I will overlook that flaw for Slava and Sasha.
I was
This one
assuming
time.
that because it's their first time, she's probably drinking a lot more than what would be a normal feeding, so it probably wouldn't.
Although this is
Ooh, I have
Yeah,
a flaw like that too.
This is also
I-
not a person, so I don't think Sasha's would apply.
Yeah,
Yeah.
consider this one feeding your get out of jail free card for your flaw.
Hey.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna say okay and just run with it, because, I have addiction.
Me too.
Yes, but I'll hand wave it because at this point, last time you had your addiction, you were mortal. Now you're not. So I will hand wave it for this one time. Just because I want to give you all blood points, so this is a one-time deal. Otherwise, Slava would be Slava and actually a couple of the rest of you would be kind of screwed in that regard. So I don't want to do that yet. So I will overlook it this one time.
The vampires thought they only had enough blood to last them one night, but it lasted so many more.
Let's see. And has everybody marked down all those blood points?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
And yes, as Alonso said, you are all very powerful. So, Rodercio, after you've sated your hunger, says, I must tell you what you have become. You no longer live. You are now among the ranks of the damned. You are the walking dead. You have the powers of hell at your command, and unless you are destroyed, you will continue forever. According to some, you have forsaken your soul and cannot reach salvation. According to others, well, the kindred have many rumors.
Say the living dead.
But my flesh is not blackened or blue. I am. There's no way.
Have you noticed that you all have not breathed a single breath since this all happened?
My heart
Nico
also
says
doesn't
kind
seem
of-
to be my heart doesn't seem to be beating either. I feel like I should be worried.
Yes, so, actually right now, all of you, your flesh is as cool as the air around you. You're not breathing. You haven't expelled, despite being tortured, you haven't expelled any sweat. So, yeah, and your heart's not beating either. So,
We are undead.
Well, I've only heard this in certain tales.
And we drink blood now to survive?
What does this do to us?
well, a few things. First, I must tell you of a warning. From what I understand of it, if you are hurt enough, you may fall into a sleep referred to by the kindred as torpor. It's like, as it's been described to me, it's like sort of like it's sort of like sleep, but it's more like inactivity. But I must warn you. Well, what do you know of vampires? Have you heard the folk tales about what vampires are capable of? Anyone that has it, anyone who has Earth Wisdom can roll it for me.
Wait.
I know I do.
Cause bitch, I might have something.
Just straight Earth Wisdom, or
Intelligence, Earth Wisdom.
I just have cruddy old occult.
That's 7. Okay, so.
It's like 1 success for Slava.
yeah, it looks like it.
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Earth Wisdom or occult. Yes, you can roll occult too.
Okay.
I forgot about that. So that's 1 success for Slava,
That's
2, 3, 4, 5 successes for Nico.
Intelligence? What's the call?
About motherfucker.
Yes.
Oh, hey.
Oh.
Hey.
1, 2,
Oh shit!
3, 4, 5.
Sasha understood the excitement.
Finally, the pagans know some shit.
Do you have a relevant specialty?
So does
Sasha?
Alonso.
No, my entire specialty is being creative.
Okay, so that's 6 successes for Alonzo. Did everyone roll? Everyone that can.
Okay.
6 successes for Alonzo. 5 for Sasha. 2, 3, 5 for Nico. 1 for Slava. So Slava, you're not remembering it really much of anything. But for the rest of you guys, you've heard the stories. Vampires can't cross running water. Vampires are repelled by garlic. Vampires can't enter a home unless invited. Vampires can't what's the other one? Vampires are destroyed by wooden stakes. Vampires are afraid of fire. Vampires are demons. That kind of thing. And Radurgio kind of, like, as you guys are reciting this to him, Radurgio kind of waves his hands and says, okay, some of those things are true, not all of them are. Of what you said, entering a home without invitation, that's just an old wives' tale. But the only things in what you said that are true, somewhat, are that vampires are in fact vulnerable to sunlight. A stake through the heart will not destroy you. It will force you into that torpor-like sleep. What will destroy you, as I'm aware, is fire, that is capable of destroying you, and decapitation are the 2 major things that can destroy you.
Is there anything
So Slava just kind of like
won't kill?
reaches for her neck, just kind of uncomfortably.
Is there anything decapitation doesn't kill?
Not that I'm aware of, but it's a strange world out there.
I say that seems like
But
something that we don't really need to know. That's kind of an assumption I would have.
But avoid stakes. You don't want to have stakes because, as far as I've been told, that will slowly weaken you, and you won't be able to move if you're staked. If you take a wooden stake to the heart.
When
Definitely something to
When
avoid.
you say a stake, what is required to qualify as a stake?
Not
Sharp.
I'm assure you.
Sharpened piece of wood.
Only wood?
As far as I'm aware, yes. Although I still wouldn't get your heart stabbed with anything.
So
Oh,
a sphere with a metal
wasn't
tip but a
imagining.
wooden shaft. Would that function? Would that work? Were I to
I
pierce all the way through the heart until it was only the wooden shaft?
It's a tricky one. I don't believe it will. I believe it has to be all wood, but I still wouldn't try that. As I said, it won't destroy you, but it will force you into that sleep, into that deep torpor sleep. And I'm sure you guys must have noticed your wound. You're not you're still suffering wounds, but you healed much more quickly than normal now. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I felt like I was in
Good.
a much. Felt like I had taken a lot more injuries before I was here.
My cuts were not open.
Your blood can do many things. It can heal you. It can enhance your strength, your speed, your dexterity, your stamina. It can do many, many things. It is also capable of, we'll say, they call it, I believe they're, some of the kindred that I've seen are capable of using their blood to make their bodies imitate life again, to make their flesh warm, to make them breathe again. But not all kindred are capable of doing this. But one of the other things your blood is allowed to do. I couldn't help but overhear the yelling from the my master and the founders. They said something about blood bonding. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's that all about?
What is
That is something that your blood's capable of doing. If you feed someone, whether they be a vampire or not, if you feed them your blood, they will, over the course, and if you have them drink over the course of 3 days, they will develop a strong attachment and loyalty to you. Some even say it's love. But there will be a strong emotional attachment on the part of the drinker to the person offering the blood, and these feelings will get stronger over the course of the 3 days until it becomes love or obsession. Whatever the case, it will be true loyalty. They refer to this as blood bonding, or the blood oath.
Sounds like enslavement.
I suppose with the way some use it, it can certainly be considered that. But that is something that is one thing your blood is capable of doing. It is also capable of, well, if your blood is fed to a regular, still alive mortal, actually, I should mention, if your blood is given to a still living mortal, that mortal, the blood bond does happen, but that mortal can become what the kindred refer to as a ghoul. The ghouls are servants that the kindred use. They typically blood bond them, but the ghouls gain the vampire blood as long as they're fed on a regular basis. The human drinking it does not age. They heal faster, not as quickly as you do, but they heal much faster. They become stronger, and they gain a small taste of your power. And these ghouls are, obviously, since they're bloodbound, they're loyal.
And is that what you are?
I I pray to God I never to be undead, but I do serve them, and I live on their blood. So yes, I am a ghoul.
do you enjoy this?
Well, I live on the blood of kindred, and that gives me the strength of the devil himself. I am content the blood does not poison my soul, and that my savior keeps me yet.
But why are you content on being a servant, a slave, when you could be more?
Well, watch this. And he finds something, I'll say something heavy in the room. I'll say like a stove or something. Something he wouldn't be able to lift. Normal human wouldn't be able to lift with normally, but he actually uses both his hands and picks it up. As I said, it gives me the strength of the devil himself.
Yes, but would not becoming the full thing also do that?
As I said, my savior still keeps me, and I pray never to become an undead myself. I am willing to serve them, but I would rather my savior keep me.
So you're content being a slave and not moving up the social ladder. Understood.
Figured this, figured that.
but and the kindred create they refer to it as progeny, in a different kind of way. You all experienced it for yourselves.
Wait, does that explain what they were talking about with throwing sire and child around?
Yes, when one of the undead wishes to make another, as you all experienced, they will drain the victim entirely of their blood and then feed them a little bit of theirs. That will turn the victim into what you are now. And that they call this the embrace. And they refer to you as they refer to the person who did this as the sire, and the person getting the embrace as the child. That's their form of family.
Swava looks absolutely disgusted.
That explains what they said to us that night.
Do any of these kindred have shadow powers?
Yes, that leads me to the next part of my explanation. Clans. The vampires are divided into 13 clans. So each of them have different have different powers. As he mentioned, some of we lost somebody. Who did we lose?
Nico. Marco.
Yes.
I'm here.
We lost. Okay, no, we lost him in roll 20.
Oh. I'm refreshing.
He says, yes, there are different clans, and each of the clans have different powers. The shadow one that you're referring to is called Clan La Sombra. That is a clan of, as far as I'm aware, Clan La Sombra is one of. Let me see. Hang on one sec while I think. Clan La Sombra are leaders, holy men, prophets, kings, and caliphs, generals, and holy men. Their typically religious sentiment runs deep in their clan, as I've been told, and they tend to work a lot in the church. They're called the Clan of Shadows. They're diverse, but its membership is evenly split among those of Spanish, Italian, Jewish, North African, or Arabian origin. They typically like wealth, as far as I'm aware, but they do have their weaknesses, as I've been told. They well, let me show you. And then he walks over and brings a full length mirror to have Alonzo look at his reflection, or try to anyway. And Alonzo, you don't see your reflection anymore.
My
Oh,
goddess, you have no reflection.
Tap on the mirror.
That's a mirror.
Sasha will go stand behind
What
him
is
and see if
this?
he has one.
Not only did you lose your appearance, but you're also destined for the church now, Alonzo.
Oh, you poor
Alonzo.
soul.
I've already run away from the church enough times.
Oh, thank goddess.
So with Sasha standing behind Alonso, do they just see is completely see Sasha, or is half of them bugged out because he's behind Alonso?
You could probably.
I think you just completely see you.
Yeah.
I don't cast shadow at all.
Yeah, you get no Alonzo gets no sort of reflection. He can't be seen at all. So yeah, it would show Sasha.
Oh, that is bizarre.
And
Oh my.
This
That's-
is some kind of magic.
That's not. When does it come back?
Does it come back?
Rogerio just shakes his head. It will never come back. Avoid unless you want to be exposed to the supernatural creature, avoid mirrors. And your clan is especially weak to sunlight. You're all weak to sunlight, and it will kill all of you, but especially quickly with Clan La Sombra.
We're going to see the sun again.
He shakes his head. No, you will never see the sun again.
Wait, what?
So we're completely nocturnal.
You're creatures of the night. You're living dead. If
What
the
of
sun...
the roses? They said something about the clan of roses.
Yes, that would be, that would... Is that the clan they said you were part of?
They made note of the man who killed me was, so yes.
Yes, they are referred to as the Toreador. Oh, before I move on to the next clan, I should mention, your clan, Alonzo, does have the ability to manipulate shadows. They also are known to have the power to... Let's see. They also are known to have the power to command others. I believe you were subject to this ability before. Then he moves on to Swaba. Your clan, however, is referred to as artists, degenerates, vanitas, aesthetics, but they're called Clan Toreador. They are known to worship beauty, have a fascination with mysticism, and known to take artists. They tend to be dramatic, and they tend to flip between moves, but depends on what their passion.
Ah. Discord crashed.
Cord crash.
There she is.
Oof.
But their passions tend to be quite intense. They pursue beauty, but they also propagate themselves through beauty. But their weakness is they, of all the kindred, they have the shortest attention span. They're once struck by beauty, it's like Cupid's dart pierced them. If they encounter what they consider to be beautiful, I don't know what that is for you, you are going to have to resist the urge to daydream or fixate on it. You're going to, as I've been told, they experience a rush of pleasure from what they consider to be beautiful. But they can be quite obsessive over it. But they are known to have the power to move quickly. Kindred refer to that as celerity. Oh, he would have told you the names of these disciplines. They refer to it as celerity for their speed. They have senses, and they can see things that most others can't. They refer to that as auspics, and then their very presence is able to manipulate or evoke emotion in those who see it.
He's kind of looking at.
She's
Strava a
trying
little
not
bit,
to be
and
any
he's
more
like,
angry than she already is.
No, it sounds like you're the equivalent of my son whose attention I can't keep for more than 5 minutes.
Sasha, I appreciate you. You're a dear friend of mine, but never compare to me to a 5-year-old.
Just chuckle at her.
Who are the ones that speak about hospitality again? They mentioned a dragon? And hospitality. I don't know what they meant by that, but that struck me.
I believe if I'm correct, you are a member of a clan they call Simitsi. Also, they refer to them as fiends.
Why do they refer to them as fiends? What do they do?
They're vampires of vampires, the eternal boogeymen that stalk the nightmares of mortals. They have a particular power that most consider to be quite monstrous. They have the ability, what they refer to as vicissitude, and as far as I'm aware, it's flesh crafting. They have the ability to exert their will and manipulate the flesh of both themselves and others.
At that, Nico's just gonna raise his hand a little bit, and it's like, manipulate how? And is this a chance where he could probably use malleable visage on his hand and just make them webbed?
Yes, I'll say that most of your disciplines. Well, this is the point where you like actually get access to them. So you start to like as soon as you start to as you're like told that you can do these things, your body starts to have like an internal realization that it can actually do these things. Except for you, Slava, you're gonna have one discipline locked for right now.
Yep.
But, as he goes and explains the clans of each of you, you start to realize what you're capable of doing. That's one power they have. Another one they have is ability over animals that they refer to as animalism, and they have the senses that the Toreador do. But you can try malleable visage, yes, on your hand.
Yeah, he's gonna actually wait. You know what?
The roll for that. Let me see.
Actually, wait a minute. Yeah, I want to try malleable visage, but I want to try on my face. Actually.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right. So, how many changes? Just one?
I want to say maybe the entire face, actually, because I have a picture for this. Believe it or not.
There's a mirror.
Yeah, there's a mirror in the room, and a lot of them are still not in it.
Let me just see the roll for it.
It is intelligence and bodycraft.
Intelligence and bodycraft, or would that be flesh crafting for him?
Yeah, flesh crafting. Intelligence flesh crafting.
Okay, so let me see. How do I roll this? I am so sorry, guys.
Okay, let me see. Actually, if you have physical dice, you can just roll them.
I don't have physical dice on me.
Slash R, and then a number of dice, and then D10.
Yes.
And how much do I put for that?
Let's see.
How do you roll disciplines in this game?
Let me see. So let's see. Discipline. You can go to dice, powers, boosted attributes. I will actually. Okay, hang on. Yeah. So main dice pools, ability, discipline. Which discipline is that for you? That's discipline 1 or 2? That's discipline 1. Yep. Okay. So discipline 1. Let me see. Discipline 1. Ability. I said intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Intelligence. Yeah. Intelligence and modifiers. Let's see. Yeah. Intelligence. Yep. Okay. I'll just have the intelligence body work. And see. Intelligence. Alright, I just wanted to double check the actual stat. It says intelligence bodycraft, so I'm not sure what that would be, but I'm gonna say intelligence vicissitude for right now. Is that alright?
Okay, you said intelligence vicissitude.
Yes. Yes, difficulty 6. What is the difficulty on that one? Let me double check.
6, son of a bitch.
Yep. Alright.
4 dice, and my vicissitude is 2, I guess, so...
Yes, you have 2 dice
6?
of vicissitude. Yes,
Okay,
so 6 dice.
6d10, please. Please. There's a certain look I'm going for, so please. Oh, son of a bitch.
Fail.
That is 1, 2, that's 1 success. See.
Willpower it.
Can I willpower this?
Not after you roll, I don't think.
Yeah, not after you've already rolled it. But you can make one small change.
Sorry, because I really didn't get the whole boatload of it. My expectations have been, like, literally dashed to shit, so I really don't know what I want to change at this point, but... Fuck it, he's gonna...
You can try it again, if you want. I'll have to up the difficulty, but you can make another, go for it.
You're gonna really, like, put this dude's self-esteem down. I'm gonna try it again, like...
Alright, difficulty 7, but you can make the same roll again. You can willpower in advance if you want, before you make the roll.
How do I do that?
You just spend a willpower. So just go to your sheet and, you know what it says, willpower, just click the little box under one of your willpower.
Just click a box.
Yeah, there's a box, right? Yep.
Okay. And then does that
You'll
modify any of the rolls, or?
Yes, that gives you 1 automatic success, and you will not be able to botch on this one.
Alright.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes on that one. Okay. Second one works.
Okay, so he's gonna, no, the reason why I did this is because it's actually, I already have a picture for this. No, it's because, no, I'm serious. I already have a picture for this.
How many total changes do you want?
He wants to
Because
change
you
his
have to spend 1 blood point to make each change.
He wants to change a couple things, but he's going to change his face, and I'm just going to put this picture in art, actually, in the art channel. He's going to change his face into something like this. So probably smooth out the skin, make the eyes a little bit more pronounced. The hair is now going to turn brown. Lips are going to look fucking beautiful.
I'll
Yeah.
say that's 5 blood points worth of change.
Okay.
Yes, so all of you see Nico's face suddenly completely change into something completely different. And that is permanent, I believe, unless you undo it. So,
In the shit permanent.
yeah. Yeah, as you all
Shit's
see,
permanent.
Nico kind of like he's doing this like, Nico, you put your hands to your face and begin molding your skin as if you were molding clay. You can't explain how you know this, it just seems instinctual to you to just mold your face like clay until it becomes the form you wish to. And all of you see this and it's rather disgusting.
What?
Like
What
sculpting
did you?
clay.
What?
It's
Your
like
skin is
sculpting
not
clay.
clay!
That is
Under
what
my
your
hand-
skin is.
It under my hands it is. It's like sculpting clay. This is. Do they do this often?
That is part of why they're referred to as fiends. It's not only themselves they can alter, they can also do it to others.
Touch me,
Wait.
die.
Wait, so you're saying
not
they're-
doing that to me.
Wait, so they say they're like fiends, so this can become more monstrous?
Yes, I believe I've heard tales of some of them growing claws, merging with the land. They can make claws of bone, change people into essentially monsters. They refer to, I believe the name is Schlachta. Big, giant creatures, pretty much, made of multiple people all stuck together and made into one horrible creation.
It's horrifying.
Dude.
Hence why the name.
So
Oh.
then he has no reflection. She just gets beguiled by anything that's beautiful or whatever her
Your
is.
What
your
do I do?
weakness, however, and he points to Nico. You have to unfortunately rest with at least 2 handfuls of native soil. That is soil from a place important to you, usually their home or their grave. Otherwise, you will slowly weaken.
That's. I want to say that's oddly specific, but I don't know how that character would like say it like that. So it's like, oh, all right. It's just 2 handfuls of earth, and
When
that's
buried.
it.
I believe it's either from where your home or somewhere of great importance to you. Your home or where you died, somewhere that's just native soil.
That mansion will never ever be important to me.
Well, I mean, technically it does have importance. Technically it does.
Yeah. No, but at that point he's gonna wonder, even what about other places of pagan worship?
If it's important, let's see, soil from a place of importance, as far as I'm aware. So if
He's
it's
gonna,
important, if it's truly important to you, that soil will work. they have their connection with the land, although it's well, you've seen the results. And then he looks over to Sasha. Sasha, to answer your question, you are part of a clan referred to as Clan Tremere. Your clan are known as Blood Sorcerers.
Ooh.
Oh, jeez, something fun.
We learn other skills?
Yes. I believe that if possible, but you have to have someone teach you, and I'm told that not many of the other clans are willing to part with their powers easily. Or if ever, because I believe that's, to them, I was told it's like giving away family secrets. But your clan, Sasha, is a new one as far as I've been told. Well, newer. I believe they're referred to as usurpers or tremors or trembling ones, because they essentially the clan founder essentially, or the clan founder did something referred to as the Emerith upon another clan's founder, and ate them and consumed their blood and power and soul, essentially, and formed their own clan with that power. So the other kindred don't look that well upon that. They see it
Well, I
as
mean, it is survival of the fittest, is it not?
apparently they've gained ground over the years, but they have a similar power. Their powers are similar to they have the same power that one of the same powers that Swava has. The great senses aspects. They have one of the powers that's that Alonso has. They refer to it as dominate, the ability to make others serve your will. And then they have their own unique power, referred to as thaumaturgy, which is their form of magic. And as he says that, Sasha, you don't know where this knowledge is coming from, but it seems innate, almost as if it's in it's in your blood. That you suddenly like have memory rush to your head of what you're capable of doing with your thaumaturgy. But their weakness is they are very vulnerable to the blood bond or blood oath. They bond much faster. I think they only require 2 drinks to do a full bond instead of the 3 normally.
Oh. That does
So
not seem appealing.
it's quite dangerous, but they have considerable power. Their magic is, as I'm aware, quite dangerous and quite powerful. And Lucen, he turns to you. You said Lucen Marcerius? Or Marcerius was the one that turned to you? Lucen, you there?
I've been just kind of thinking, trying to process all of this. That, I guess, hearing the bit of the lull, I just look up. So, who was the bastard? Who is that bastard Marchettis?
He was part of a clan known as the Bruja. They're, as far as I'm aware, they're referred to as zealots, philosopher kings, or rabble if one is being derogatory about it. They are a clan that has great passion, kind of similar to the Toreador. However, theirs is more... They facilitate rebellion. They can be fierce warriors or charismatic leaders. They have great passion for changing things. They enjoy shaking things up. They hate things being stagnant. They tend to be scholars usually, but you seem to be an exception.
Well, certainly was no scholar.
Yes,
They
I
were
am sorry
philosopher
about
kings,
that.
though. Yes.
Yes, that's one name for them. Or zealots.
So there seems to be more
But-
than just stubbornness there.
But their power, they have the ability to move quickly, like Slava's clan does. They also have the same they call that celerity. They also have the same presence ability that Slava's clan does, but they have one. It's not unique to them, but it's one that I don't think the rest of you have, called potence. That power enables them. That increases their strength. They have unnatural strength, and at that point, Lucen, as you say that, you can feel it's hard to quantify it, to put it in. It's hard to put it into words, but you feel your muscles feel much stronger than they ever were when they were mortal, than you ever were when you were mortal. But they have a weakness. Their passion, as I'm aware, their passion can send them into fits of rage, and they can do something referred to as frenzy easily. I'm sure you all noticed there was an instinct building inside of you, something that cried out for blood. Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
something predatory.
Particularly new, but I suppose.
Kindred referred to that as the beast. You must take care, because without great conviction or will, you can, if you falter and something makes you angry, or you're hungry, or you see fire, your predatory base instincts can take over, and you will do things that you normally would not, and you can easily lose yourself and become a monster.
You say stronger and faster. Wonder how much. And as I say that, I'm going to basically try to punch the wall as hard as I can, just out of
How many dots of potence you got?
3.
3. Okay. So give me a You said punch, right? So strength
Yes.
ball plus the additional plus three because you have 3 dots of potence. Okay, that's
It's a hole in the wall.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 4 successes. So, Lucen. So as you punch, you weren't really trying that super hard, but as you punch through the clearly stone wall, your hand goes right through into that wall, making a pretty clear and obvious hole.
Guessing it hurt a little bit, though.
No, a little bit, but not as nearly as much as you would think.
Yeah, I would just pull my hand out and just kind of shake it a little bit. Like, that was interesting. Wonder what a spear would be able to do with that. Bet I could punch right through armor without much trouble.
That's the power of potence. And I would avoid fire. Apparently, when kindred see too much fire, they can go into a state of fear. I believe they refer to that as the red fear.
Yes.
Red fear.
One other thing you mentioned a while back. You talked about ghouling, I believe you said it was?
Yes.
What is the downside to doing that?
The
What is
downside.
the downside being made a ghoul?
The downside is, as I've been told, the ghoul becomes addicted to the vitae, is what they refer to their, is what kindred refer to their blood as. The vitae, while it stops their aging process, if they don't drink it in I believe it's month. I think it's month. Meta-wise, I have to double check. But if they don't drink that age will catch up to them. Let's say I've been a ghoul for 50 years and I stop drinking blood. Those 50, if I don't drink the blood in time, those 50 years are going to start catching up to me, and I will quickly age those 50 years at once.
Sounds like a rather impressive gift that you could give to somebody, though.
Immortality without the perks of being undead.
Even without the
I'm
immortality,
told-
even aside from the immortality, strong makes you stronger, more healthier.
It
What's
heals
not to
humans.
like
It enhances
So,
their healing
you said-
process.
You said you were a ghoul, yes? And it made you stronger?
Yes,
Could you do what he
yes,
did?
I am. No, I said it only gives me a taste of the power of the undead. It doesn't give me the full effect as Lucen displayed. I would never be able to do what Lucen can. I may be stronger than a regular mortal, but I am nowhere. I'm nothing compared to one of you.
And is it only people that can be made into these ghouls?
I believe animals also may be able to.
Interesting.
I believe it also works on animals, but animals will, for the most part, I believe they recoil from you unless you are either really good with them or you have you've ghouled them in advance, or you have the ability, they refer to it as discipline of animalism. Like
Funny
Nico
heavens.
has.
So if I wish to ride a horse, it would probably need to be.
Yes, otherwise you would intrinsically scare them.
A knight is not fully a knight without his horse. Well, you've given me much to think of.
Yes, but does anyone have any other questions for right now?
They want us to go after these people. How do we do that?
We can, and he motions for you guys to follow, and he takes you to a large common room filled with cots, and he says we can talk more tomorrow evening. I'm sure you all each have much to think about, and you've gone through quite a lot. Sleep now, and I pray it will be the untroubled sleep of the angels. You must sleep through the day. Kindred sleep through the day normally and wake up at night. So, you should sleep now and rest. You have much to think about and to consider, and we shall talk more about our plan and what we're going to do tomorrow. And he makes sure each of you are, if you guys follow him, he tries to make sure each of you are tucked in.
Aww.
Oh, lovely.
As you guys did show yourselves of honor by doing what you did with Paul. So, and then he leaves the room, leaving you guys alone. And I believe there would be a good ending place for the session. What do you guys think?